Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources. Updating daily at 6 a.m. New York.
Washington Post World.
December 5. 5:23 America New York, Sudanese generals, pro-democracy group sign framework deal. Sudan's ruling generals and the main pro-democracy group have signed a framework deal until elections, but key dissenters have stayed out of the agreement.
BBC News World.
December 5. 5:04 America New York, explosions hit two military airfields in Russia, reports. It is not known what caused the blasts, which happened hundreds of kilometers from the Ukrainian border.
New York Times World News.
December 5. 5 o'clock America New York, China protests raise hopes of activists abroad. People opposing Beijing over issues like Hong Kong, Taiwan or the persecution of Uyghurs see the moment as an opportunity to find common cause. Students lighting candles last week on the campus of the Chinese University of Hong Kong to show solidarity with protesters in mainland China.
Fox World News.
December 5. 4:34 America New York, North Korea reportedly fires 130 artillery rounds, violating inter-Korean agreement. North Korea allegedly fired more than 100 artillery rounds into the sea off both its coasts on Monday morning, violating a 2018 agreement.
BBC News World.
December 5. 4:12 America New York, China fire was government's fault, victim's daughter. There were widespread protests after 10 people died in a tower block fire in the city of Urumqi.
New York Times World News.
December 5. 4:09 America New York, skyrocketing prices in Turkey hurt families and tarnish Erdogan. Annual inflation is around its highest level in decades, devaluing salaries and devouring savings less than a year before President Recep Tayyip Erdogan runs for re-election, a currency exchange office in Istanbul.
Mirror World News.
December 5. 3:56 America New York, Russian nuclear bombers, damaged, after suspected major Ukraine drone attack at airfield. The Tu-95s, the only propeller-powered strategic bombers that are still operational, have been used for non-nuclear attacks in recent weeks as part of tyrant Vladimir Putin's blitzkrieg on Ukraine.
The Washington Times stories. Advocacy.
December 5. 3:47 America New York, South Korea says North Korea fired about 130 suspected artillery rounds near border. South Korea's military said North Korea fired about 130 suspected artillery rounds on Monday into the water near their western and eastern sea borders, the latest military action contributing to worsening relations between the neighbors.
New York Times World News.
December 5. 3:04 America New York, her baby needs heart surgery. But she is demanding, unvaccinated, blood. New Zealand's health service is seeking to take temporary custody of a critically ill infant so it can perform a life-saving operation. The New Zealand Health Service has denied the family's request to use blood from unvaccinated volunteers and says that the vaccines pose no risk to donor supplies.
Washington Post World.
December 5. 2:28 America New York, Palestinians say man killed during Israeli raid in West Bank. Palestinian health officials say a 22-year-old Palestinian man has been killed by Israeli fire during a military raid in the occupied West Bank.
BBC News World.
December 5. 1 o'clock America New York, Haiti, inside the capital city taken hostage by brutal gangs. Orla Guerra reports from Port-au-Prince, where Haitians live in fear of killings, kidnappings and rape. Fox World News.
December 4. 23:32 America New York, Georgia child sex offender apprehended in Mexico after 5 years on the loose. A Georgia sex offender who had been on the run for nearly 5 years was arrested on Saturday in Mexico and sent back to the Peach State.
World News. Breaking international news and headlines, Sky News.
December 4. 22:32 America New York, he is not saying goodbye. Relatives of Pelé give update on Brazil legend's health. Relatives of footballing legend Pelé have said the 82-year-old is under no imminent risk of death. Pelé attends the 2018 World Cup draw at the Kremlin in Moscow.
Fox World News.
December 4. 21:02 America New York, South African worshippers killed in flash flood during religious service along river. 9 members of a church congregation in South Africa died when a flash flood swept them away during a religious service along a river on Saturday, officials said.